Thank you very much. Good afternoon. I feel like the lucky guy who gets to talk to all of you who have just eaten lunch and are falling asleep. Well, one of my pet peeves is companies that don't stand out. They blend into the white noise. And that's what I'm going to talk to you about today. I look at a lot of home pages and I see this all the time. Judy's right, I've been on TV many times, and one of the things that I've learned is that if you don't make your point in 15 seconds, people are going to switch the channel. And they also do that on your home page. So let's go to the next slide. We're going to talk about how to grab investors and customers. All right. This woman is a typical viewer of your website. She looks at it. She doesn't get what you do. Now, that's bad for you because that's a customer that's walking away. So I have a little timer there. In the 15 seconds, you're in the unique standout zone. Otherwise, you're in the white noise. And so the question I have is, do they get you in 15 seconds? Think about your home page right now, because that is your billboard. That's your opening argument. That's your calling card. That's your book cover. And people do judge you by the cover. So the hint is they don't get you. Now, let's play a clip of a woman competing in Miss Teen USA in 2007. This is what a typical website sounds like to me when I'm looking at it.
Recent polls have shown a fifth of Americans can't locate the U.S. on a world map. Why do you think this is?
I personally believe that U.S. Americans are unable to do so because some people out there in our nation don't have maps, and I believe that our education, like such as in South Africa and the Iraq, everywhere like such as, and I believe that they should, our education over here in the U.S. should help the U.S. Or should help South Africa and should help the Iraq and the Asian countries, so we will be able to build up our future for our children.
Thank you very much, South Carolina.
Now, go back to the other slide, Keith. That's what it's like to read most home pages. Not yours, of course, but most home pages. Okay, let's go to the next slide. All right, so right here it says white noise. It's hard to read because that's what it's like when you're in the white noise. Nobody can find you. You've seen snow on your TV. That's the white noise. And what ends up happening is your company is like one of many cards in a deck for a magic trick. And for an investor to select you for funding or for a customer to select you for your product or service, you'll just look like all the other companies. In fact, if you take your homepage, put your hand over the company name, and then read it, you won't know which company it is. And that's very bad. That's very bad for business. But it's interesting that most people don't even care. Next slide. There's the white noise again. You can't see it on this slide, but the white noise wastes time and money, yours and theirs. Customers want a unique standout because it makes it easier for them to choose you. Does anybody confuse Apple Computer with any other company? Never, never. Nobody ever confuses Apple with anybody. That's what your company should be like. Unique, standalone. Your salespeople want the unique standout. Why? Because it makes their job easier. Makes it easier for them to connect with customers and sell your product. Your channel partners want a unique standout because it makes it easier for them to sell your product. And your stockholders. It costs less money to run a company that is a unique standout. Otherwise, the cost of sales goes up, their ROI goes down, and if they're looking to fund you for the first time, they can't figure out what you do. Why should they fund you? Next slide. Here I show it graphically. When you exceed 15 seconds, you kill the IRR. Your cost of sales goes way up, and you end up with inefficient sales, low efficiency sales, either very costly sales or no sales at all. And what a lot of companies do is they just throw more salespeople at it. And that is not the cure. On the other hand, if you have a strong brand, if you're in the unique standout zone, your cost of sales goes way down, and you have high efficiency sales. It's very simple. If in one conversation I can convince you that my product is going to solve your problem, the sale is made. if we have to have the conversation 6 times, and then you can't repeat it to your friends and colleagues, the cost of sales goes way up. Next slide. Now, to make sure that we're all on the same page about what is a brand, because a lot of people don't know what a brand is. A brand is a value proposition. It's not a logo. And let's take a very good example that we all know. The presidential seal. The old brand was power, prosperity, pride, and liberty. What's the new brand? Impotence, insolvency, inferiority, and fascism. Same logo. So a lot of people think, oh, we rebranded our company, we got a new logo. Doesn't mean squat. Same logo, old brand, new brand. Pretty bad. But that's, when people tell you a logo is a brand, it's not. It represents your brand, but it doesn't constitute your brand. Next slide. So how do you grab them? Well, you have to build gut share. A lot of people hear about mind share. Mind share is meaningless because people don't decide here. They decide here. Oprah Winfrey gave a commencement speech at Stanford University in 2008. And I wrote an article about it called Gut Share versus Mind Share. And in that article, I quote her, and she said, every major decision I've ever made in my life, I've made with my gut. She's made a few dollars. People decide with their guts, not their heads. In 1849, people went to California to find the gold, because that's where it was. The gold is in the gut. And that means every messaging, all the messaging you have has to have an emotional component, even in the business world. Next slide. A lot of people say, oh, in the business world, there are no emotions. Everything is cold, emotionless, hard-headed spreadsheet decisions. Baloney. 2 major emotions in every corporation, power and reputation. See that bridge? Somebody screwed up and somebody lost his job over that. Even when you're inviting somebody to a meeting, you're always thinking, what's this going to do to my power and my reputation? Every decision in a corporation, power and reputation. Therefore, if I'm selling to you via face-to-face conversation, telephone conversation, or messaging on your website, you have to incorporate the emotions of the corporation, power and reputation. And if you don't, whoosh, it just goes over somebody's head. You can't grab somebody unless you grab them here. And everybody has those emotions. Next slide. The second step in building gut share is your investors and customers must, my 3 R's, they must react to your words, remember your words, and repeat your words. If not, imagine how high the cost of sales goes. You have failed to communicate. Show the second clip.
Well, Mother's Day shopping in full swing right now. Is that this Sunday? Anyway, Mom, of course, is priceless, but what if you tried to put a dollar value on what Mom does and what she does for the family? Well, there's a new survey out that shows that home moms are worth $117,000 a year if you tally up all the work they do. Moms with jobs, 68 grand. My next guest says nonsense. They're not worth it. Surprise, he's Marc Rudov of the Marc Rudov radio show. Lise Wheel agrees completely. Lise says that moms are indeed worth this and much more. All right, Mark, what do you say? You're not buying this figure, huh?
Well, first of all, I'm surprised to know that watching soap operas pay so well.
What?
If I'd known that, that's what I'd be doing. Now, look,
You know,
I'm sure
he's just
numbers,
messing with you, Lise. He's messing with you.
I'm sure these numbers were derived from some wimpy man at salary.com. They're illogical, they're nonsensical, and he just came up with these numbers so that he can have sex with his wife until next Mother's Day.
All right, Lise, you can take that anywhere you want to go.
Mark.
Now, go back to the previous slide. You all reacted, You all reacted to my words. I'll bet you're all going to remember my words, and I'll bet you when you walk out of here, you're going to repeat my words. That's the whole point. Every communication in your corporation has to be just like that. People have to react to your words, remember your words, and repeat your words. And when you achieve that, your cost of sales goes way down and your visibility goes way up. Next slide. Why does most branding fail? Because people like to blend, and you can't see that. And then you have blending here and branding here. And you can't be blending and branding. You're doing one or the other. And what this says here is they'll ignore you if you blend. And it's really true that people like to blend. Play the third clip.
Nothing. You stick out like a sore thumb around here.
Me? What about you?
I fit in better than you. At least I'm wearing cowboy boots.
Oh, yeah, you blend.
I chose that clip because that describes how most people behave. They want to blend. They want to fit in. And because of that, they're lousy at branding. Because when you're branding, you have to stick out. And people hate to do that. But if your company wants to achieve something with the lowest cost of sales, you have to do that. So it's very difficult for a lot of people to do that, but it's absolutely necessary. So that's the key. You're either blending or branding, and you can't be branding unless people react to your words, they remember your words, they repeat your words. And finally, to sum it up, when you're unique, you grab them. And that's all there is to it. Again, go back to your websites, cover up your logo and your company name, read it and say, what company is this? And you can't have that and expect to do better than your competitors. So, I hope you enjoyed the talk, and I hope you'll go out there and grab them.